Welcome to another video.
So today I'm going to be talking about, well, I should rather say I'm going to be letting you in on a little secret on how to travel with Chinese women or Chinese girls. So the main purpose of this video is to prepare you for traveling, as in going on holiday with a Chinese woman or Chinese girl. And it doesn't matter if it's your wife, your girlfriend, a family member or a friend. I'm basically going to tell you what you can expect and also how to basically keep your sanity whilst doing so. Once again, no disrespect meant to any ladies out there. This is just my own personal account and my experiences that I'm sharing here. So let's talk about what to expect when traveling with a Chinese girl or woman. And I'm basically talking about going on holiday here. First thing, photographs. One thing you have to realize is that photographs are more important than the experience itself. So you'll quite often go to the beach or something here in China and you will see people spending an entire day taking photos of themselves having fun, but not actually having fun. So they'll be jumping around in poses, pretending to splash in the water or pretending to climb a rock or pretending to build a sandcastle or something. But in actual fact, they won't actually be swimming or splashing around or having fun. They'll smile for the camera, then they're all serious again, walk to the next spot, pose, take photos. It's quite bizarre actually. So be prepared to be taking a lot of photos and also be prepared to not actually have a whole lot of fun. Now, for me, that's not a big deal because, you know, I'm an amateur photographer and I enjoy taking photos of my fiancée. I think she's a very, very beautiful girl, so I don't have any trouble with that. But please bear in mind that if you're traveling with a Chinese girl, to expect that sort of thing. Okay, the next thing I would like to tell you about traveling with Chinese people in general, not just Chinese women, is, well, the way Chinese people tend to take holidays is very different to how most Western people like to take holidays. And that is, you know, as a Western person, holiday time means rest time, right? You want to go somewhere nice, somewhere pretty where you can relax, maybe see some of the sights, you know, just chill out, have a couple drinks, you know, not do anything in particular. However, when Chinese people travel, it's crazy. They have a schedule. They have a very set schedule. They want to wake up in the morning, go to see this place, afterwards go try this specific food. Afterwards, they're going to go see that specific place and then go buy that specific thing. And in fact, it's incredibly tiring. They have like a schedule from morning till night, and basically day after day of the holiday, it's a mad rush. And it can be really, really tiring, and it's basically just like work. So it's not really like a holiday, to be honest. And in fact, very, well, just not enjoyable. In fact, my fiancée got back from a trip with her cousin to Thailand a while ago. They went for a couple of days. And I asked, how was the holiday? And she said it was tiring. I asked why, and it's because they had to rush everywhere to try and get to every place they wanted to go to. So be aware of that. All right, let's talk about food for a minute. Now, although food tourism is huge in China, here in mainland China, people love going to different provinces to try different specialties. You'll be surprised at just how unadventurous Chinese people are when it comes to eating Western food. Now, I say this because you have to realize in China that they have a very different diet to us overseas. In other words, they particularly don't eat dairy and they stay away from cold things. You know, Chinese people absolutely hate anything that's cold and iced because of the whole Chinese traditional medicine beliefs that it's bad for your health, bad for your stomach. I mean, this doesn't go for everybody, but especially women, if they're having their period or something, they just cannot have ice cream or anything that's cold, right? So when you go overseas, and I've done this when you travel abroad, you know, it's difficult to get your Chinese friend to try the local food. They'll always want to try something familiar, you know, something safe like rice or seafood or something that they're used to eating. So that can be quite frustrating. Now, speaking of adventurous, here's another big problem when you're traveling with a Chinese girl or a Chinese woman, is that Chinese people in general, but especially the women, are not very adventurous. By this I mean, don't expect them to be doing anything like bungee jumping or skydiving or skiing or anything, actually any kind of outdoor sport really. They're very averse to this. Anything that could possibly cause injury, you know, is probably just a bit too much. Even something as simple as hiking. If you see people hiking here, it's quite ridiculous. The women will go hiking in high heels and, you know, they kind of carry 10 million things with them to go up a little half an hour hill or something. So, you know, outdoor activities are not big in China, at least not in the cities. In fact, not even in the rural areas. You know, the farmers and stuff, they just kind of farm. But outdoor activities, extreme sports, things like that, it's just not a part of Chinese culture. So don't expect your Chinese friend, girlfriend, wife, partner, whatever, to be willing to do anything that they think may be even slightly dangerous. Now, another thing which you're going to have to realize is that Chinese people absolutely love crowded places. In fact, it's just part of the culture. When they see a crowd, they think that it must be good. So for instance, if there's a restaurant with a massive waiting list outside, a huge queue, they'll want to go there because they think it must be good that there's so many people there, right? And so you might have a perfectly good restaurant right next to it that's just only got a few people sitting in, and they'll rather go and stand in this huge queue because they believe it's better. So when you're out traveling, this can also be very frustrating, especially if you're traveling in mainland China, because trust me, the crowds can get really, really big here. Okay, so far I know I've just been telling you what to expect. I'll get to the secret on how to deal with all of this in a minute. There's just one more thing that I have to talk about, and that is bargaining and finding a deal. Now, once again, this is something ingrained into Chinese culture. It doesn't matter who you meet, it doesn't matter how high class, low class, middle class, whatever class that they are. Chinese people inherently love a bargain. And because of this, it can actually be quite embarrassing and also quite frustrating. Simply because, you know, if you're out shopping with them, they will try and, you know, find coupons and find ways to get measly discounts on things, which, you know, can be a little bit embarrassing depending on the situation. But I'm not going to fault people on their culture. What I am going to fault them on is doing stupid things like standing in a queue for 2 hours to get into a restaurant so that you can save 20% on a lunch. And that's a real thing that I've had to deal with before. Whereas I would rather pay double and not waste my 2 hours standing in a bloody queue just to go and sit down and have a meal at a nicer restaurant that serves better food. So yes, that can be an issue. And you know, the whole crowded thing really gets to me sometimes. I've got lots of stories, but this isn't the place for that. Let's get on to how you actually deal with this stuff. How, as a man who's taking their girlfriend, wife, friend, cousin, whoever, who just happens to be a Chinese girl on a holiday, how do you deal with it? Okay, so what is this secret that I'm talking about here? How is it that you deal with all these problems? Well, first of all, you have to realize that it's a cultural thing, right? So you can't really blame people for their culture. You just kind of have to accept it and deal with it, right? And the best way to deal with it is, and this has taken me years to figure out, that is to split your holiday. So what do I mean by split the holiday? Well, it's quite simple. For instance, next week I'm going to Japan for 10 days. So what I'll do is, or what I've already done is say, okay, 5 days are your days, 5 days are my days. In other words, 1 day is your day, 1 day is my day. 1 day is your day, 1 day is my day, that kind of thing, right? So then on the first day, sure, I'll get dragged around to go and see this site and that site and try that food and do this and that, whatever she wants to do, you know, I'll take her and help her out with that. But then the next day, I'm just going to chill the hell out. I'm going to grab a bunch of beer, I'm going to go see the one thing maybe that I want to see, and just relax and explore and look around, because that's what a holiday is for me. It's just exploring, looking around and discovering a place. You know, I don't like to go to tourist attractions. I like to actually just walk around on the back streets and see what's going on, right? And then she could be free to tag along with me, or if she'd like to just chill out and go and take care of some shopping or hang out, do whatever she wants to do, that's entirely up to her. And that, my friends, is the secret. Very simple. Split the holiday, give them their space to do what they want, and, you know, tag along, and vice versa. You get to do what you want, and it balances things out very, very well. Stops people from getting frustrated and blaming each other. And at the end of the day, you can actually have a very good, memorable holiday. Just remember, you're going to be taking lots of photos. Anyway, guys, that's it for this time. Time for me to head off. I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon. Until then, as always, don't forget, stay awesome.